Welcome to the Red Half of Sheffield Preview Pod. I don't know if we're previewing another loss. This is certainly going to be an entertaining game from the perspective of United in the FA Cup third round against Gillingham. I am joined by Owen from the ME7 Podcast. Owen, how are you doing this Sunday afternoon?
Very good, yeah. Thanks for having me on. Happy New Year as well, I suppose.
Yeah, we are recording this on the last day of 2023. So when this comes out, it'll be a Happy New Year. Let's get right into it. Give us a little background on Gillingham's season. 10th, I believe, right now on 35 points in League Two. Give the listeners that don't necessarily follow League Two, give us a little background on the season. How's it been?
Yeah, so it's been a bit of a whirlwind one, really. We obviously had the horror of last season, nearly getting relegated into the non-league of English football, saved by the takeover of Americans Brad Shannon Gaddison. Took over the club. We had a great pre-season period. We went out to Italy, a lot of team bonding. The fans were really happy. Everyone was really on board, and we started the season really well. I think first month and a half we were top of the table. We'd had a really quite unique run, I suppose, of winning all our games 1-0. I think we were the first team in history to win 5 games 1-0 in a row in the league or something like that. And yeah, maybe it wasn't the most entertaining ways to win football games, but I'm sure you'll agree, everyone listening, you don't care how you win it as long as you do. And yeah, that obviously came to an end as you'd expect it to. You can't win every game 1-0. We hit a little bad patch of form towards, must have been mid-October time, maybe just a bit earlier under Neil Harris, where we had a draw at home to Mansfield, followed by a loss away at Crewe, and to everyone's surprise, Neil Harris was relieved of his duties, and at that time we were 3 points off the automatic promotion place. No, 1 point off the automatic promotion places, and 3 points off top of the table. So, although you were in 8th at the time, I think 8th, not a great position, but then when you consider the actual points total you are away from where you want to be, it seems quite a strange decision. One that I didn't agree with. I still don't really agree with it now, but it's been and gone. Yeah, since then we've had about a month and a half period of caretaker ownership with Keith Midden taking the role before Stephen Clements came in. His first job as a number 1 was number 2 to Steve Bruce throughout the majority of his career at a lot of clubs, maybe even Sheffield United. I think Steve Bruce must have been there at some point. There too. And yeah, it's not started brilliantly, if I'm being honest. We got a good win on Tuesday, a very much needed one against Sutton, bottom of the table in our division, and it's put us in a position now where we're 3 points away from the playoffs. Really, really far away from top spot now, but part of that's down to the form that Stockport have been in there. I think they're 7 points clear of second or something like that. So they've hit a rich vein and look to be going one better than they did last year, and they lost in the playoff final. So that top spot is obviously well out of reach, but I think there's quite optimism going into January. Obviously, things can change, that we might be able to get back into those playoff spots permanently. That's the hope anyway. And yeah, it's been a frustrating few months, I can't lie, since Neil Harris left. And yeah, hopefully January is going to be the springboard to get us back where we want to be. But as of now, it's a bit of a divide in fans, those who are pro-Harris, anti-Harris, those who are anti-Harris but don't think Stephen Clements was the right man. There's just a lot of issues that need sort of ironing out, I suppose, and we'll see. It's thinking for football, isn't it? You won't know who's right to think what until the season finishes, and you can look back on it. But at this moment in time, it's like arguing for a brick wall, depending on what side you're on, because no one knows the answer. We'll just have to see how it pans out. But I suppose we can look back at last season when we were bottom of the table, well adrift at this time last year. Now we're in a position where we're going to be there or thereabouts for the playoffs, you'd think. So frustrating, but it's not a point where the season's gone. We're still in with a good chance. So I'm quite optimistic, but then we'll have to see what January brings.
Now, I'll ask you one more question. As far as the season, carries on into January and towards the end of the season, is the ultimate goal for Gills to get promoted, or at least make the playoffs, or is that almost a bridge too far at this point, and you're just hoping to mid-table finish?
It's not a bridge too far because we're only 3 points away, and mid-table finish. I've said before on our podcast, I'll say it again. If we don't get in the playoffs this season, I consider it a failure, because where we were when we sat Neil Harris, we were literally there, and even at the top now a lot further away from the top on points, not too far away on points to the playoffs. But yeah, if we don't get in the playoffs this season, I would consider it a failure. If we got in the playoffs and we lost, it'd be disappointing, but I wouldn't consider it a failure because, not to use the old phrase, but when it comes down to those two semi-finals and the final, form goes out the window. It's just whoever turns up at any given time. And sometimes I can go for you or go against you. We do have quite a good record in the playoffs in general. But if we've got in the playoffs and we didn't get through them, I'd consider it not a success, but also not a failure. I think I'd be moderately calm about it. But if we didn't get in the playoffs, I would consider, given everything that's gone on, it would be a failure, yeah.
Okay. So going into this one, give us a couple of players Gills will roll out against United on Saturday that will probably give United trouble.
Well, given our goal record, that's quite difficult. I think one player you'd always want to look out for is Ethan Coleman. I think he's a very steady central defensive midfielder. He gets stuck in. He's pretty much been our standout player this season, I would say, which I know is not much exciting things to say about a CDM, if you like, but he's someone who gets us ticking. He basically is at the centre of everything good that we do. He's just one of those players that, can give you that extra edge in a game. I think when he's not there, I think we miss him a lot. There's not really another defensive midfielder we have. We have good ones, but I don't think anyone at that level who can perform that he can take a game by the scruff of the neck. I think in an attacking sense, I'd look towards. So this is where the goal record comes back again. Justify say a name. I'm actually going to say someone who's been injured for the whole season until 2 games ago, and that's Ollie Hawkins. I think we put him back in the team from the start on Tuesday, and we created a lot more chances off the back of that. And I think he's someone, given his height, I think he's 6'7" or something like that. He's a unit in this division. He's going to win your headers. He's going to create chances for other people, and he's going to just, in those moments where you were missing that focal point in games that we couldn't create chances from, we're having that there is a big plus. But funnily enough, when we actually play in cup competitions, everyone seems to turn up. So, we might see some great performances from our players. Dom Jeffries, someone who's full of energy, can make things happen. Macaulay Bond is probably our best finisher, but he's not in the looking right now for whatever reason that might be. Johnny Williams is someone who's had a very successful career, not been as great this season as we'd hoped, but he's someone who can make things happen. Went off injured on Tuesday, so whether that plays a part, we're not sure. Or Friday, sorry, what day is it? So on that front, but I think this team, the way it is in cup competitions, we played 3 Premier League teams last year. Brentford, we beat on penalties at the G-Tech, which was a great night against a more or less full-strength Brentford team as well. We held on for about 80 minutes, I think, at Molineux against Wolves, and then lost 2-0. Leicester beat us 1-0 at Priestfield in a very tight game. So I do take confidence in the fact that against Premier League teams, we do seem to step it up. We don't get rolled over very easily, and we do make it a game. We're not going to obviously beat every Premier League team we ever play, but I like in this game coming up to one we had in the FA Cup of 3-4 seasons ago, maybe. We played Cardiff. We were in a similar position to where you are now, and Neil Warnock came down and we got the result. We beat them 1-0 when they were in the Premier League, and it was one of those where you could see that clearly the opposition team are very full focused on Premier League survival, as it would be. Obviously, it didn't work out for them in the end. Maybe if we get a result against you, it'll be the opposite effect, and that'll help you stay up, and everyone wins.
Yeah, you're not playing Saturday. You're not playing a Premier League side. You're playing the middle of the championship side. I'll be completely honest. We couldn't score if the goal was 40 feet wide. So a packed out Priestfield on Saturday. A Premier League, we're down already. So a championship side versus League Two. This has all the ingredients for a cup set. What's your thoughts? How's the game go? Because I'm not very confident. I think we get hammered.
You won't get hammered because we don't score goals.
Oh, great. It'll be 0-0.
I think the worst result for you probably would be a 0-0 because it's, I know that sounds stupid because of losing the game's obviously worse, but I think in terms of having to play an extra game when you're in the middle of a survival scrap, I don't think that would be ideal for you at all. To be honest, the way we play in cup competitions, we do tend to turn up, so I would give us a chance just on the basis of that. Players, it's almost quite annoying at times. Some players up their game, but then you see it in the game after, and they're back down to a lower level. And I think we do have a chance. I think it depends how seriously you take it, in all honesty, because if you do take it seriously with the team you have, I know you're not performing well, but they're better than League Two players, so on paper they should be able to get the job done. But if there's even a hint of this game isn't for us. We really don't want to be here. We've got to focus on, whoever you might be playing a few days later or something. And then that would obviously give us an opportunity. And I think, to be honest, a draw for us isn't really ideal either, because, a midweek game in Sheffield isn't really great for when we're trying to have a very congested fixture period as we have anyway. I'd give us a chance. I think there is potential that we could get a result, to be honest, and I think that's because, as I said, I don't think you will be up for it. I don't think you'll be looking at it think it's a good opportunity to have a cup run. I know you did last season, maybe the season before, when you lost to City at Wembley, but that was when you were in the Championship and you were doing well in the league. You had less to lose, and in this scenario, you obviously have everything to lose and not really much to gain, because you're not going to win the FA Cup, with all due respect, neither are we, obviously. But you've got a bigger carrot, which is Premier League survival, to go after. And I think Chris Wilder's an experienced manager. I think he'll know that. He won't come here aiming to lose, obviously, but I think he'll probably put out a team where he'll be giving people opportunities to shine and to make their mark on a team that's struggling in the Premier League. And if they can do that and get a result, it might help for them. But at the same time, we played Southampton in the League Cup this season, just been relegated, obviously, and we completely played them off the park. We beat them 3-1. Yeah. Their goal came in injury time, and that was a team which is quite similar to the one they had in the back end of the Premier League last year, and we beat them with ease. And that was a sign of a team that didn't want to be there, that weren't interested. So if that's the same situation, I would give us a chance. I think we would win the game, just because we'd want it more. There's more for us than there is for you, and I think it would just be another distraction, especially if we get a goal and we get ourselves in front. We'll come back to that. Do you really want to replay? How much do you really want it? And that will obviously show in your performance. So I think with all that considered, I would give us a good chance, yeah. But as I said, if you do turn up and you do want it, then obviously you'd back Sheffield United based on the quality of player.
Yeah, no, I'm right there with you. I think this goes one of two ways, and you kind of hit on it. Do we want to play? And I hate the Prem, and I want us to be out of that godforsaken league. So I say, why not go on a cup run? That's all that's left to play for in our season, honestly, because we'll be relegated probably by the end of February. But I just think, I don't know, just going away to a League Two side, you guys, I can see, I'm playing this game in my head right now, and it's about the 89th minute, 0-0, and we've dumped on the likes of Cameron Archer and Ollie McBurney and James McAtee, and nothing goes in, and Gillingham have a chance in the box and take their chance and come away 1-0 winners. I just think that's how it goes. I just think it's this season compounding on itself, and we've been asked for the entire season. Why not continue this? I mean, hell, we lost to Lincoln City in the EFL Cup. Why not bow out in the third round of the FA Cup to Gillingham? No offense to you guys being a League Two side. We should, as you said, we should go in and probably win with the players on paper. We should win 2-3-0, but I just don't think we're up for it. I think the new manager bounce, if you believe that BS, has worn off, and I think this is an FA Cup upset on the making. One more before we get out of here. I always end on a serious question. Your favorite go-to pre-match beverage is?
Well, that's on the spot. If I'm drinking, which depends on whether I'm here or not beforehand, I actually quite like a Foster's, which is quite, people don't really tend to go with that, but it's probably my favourite lager, to be honest. But if we're getting a bit fruity about it, why not? I do like a pink gin and lemonade as well.
There you go. Two different ones that I haven't heard yet. Owen, well, tell the viewers where they can find the podcast, give it a listen, and follow you guys on social media.
Yeah, so we're at the ME7 Podcast on Twitter, or X, if you want to call it, and all our episodes are available on Spotify. Don't expect everyone to want to tune in to watch us review the Colchester game on Monday, but hopefully a few of you can join us either live or listen back to the review we do of this game on, what day is it now? Saturday.
Yeah.
Be ready for that one.
Yeah. And if you haven't done so, follow us, Red Half Sheffield, on X/Twitter. I don't know why you haven't subscribed if you're watching this video. Red Half Sheffield on YouTube until West Ham, when I preview another defeat, I will leave you with this: up the Blades.